The balance beam. I always stayed late after practice. The gym had this strange peace to it when everyone else was gone. Just me, the rhythmic hum of the overhead lights, and the faint scent of chalk hanging in the air like ghost dust. You could almost hear the echoes of the day's applause, still clinging to the bleachers. Coach used to say I was born on the balance beam. Said it with that proud grin of his, half encouragement, half challenge. The beam was my altar, my obsession, my quiet rebellion against the messy world outside those gym walls. That night, I stayed later than usual. It wasn't about perfection anymore. It was about redemption. I'd failed the same aerial 3 times that week, and it had been eating me alive. I just needed one clean landing before I could sleep. So I climbed onto the beam, barefoot, palms powdered white. The gym clock ticked toward midnight. My reflection in the dark window across the room looked like a stranger, focused, hungry, maybe a little unhinged. I inhaled. The silence pressed against my ears, thick and total. Then, as I leapt, the rafters above me creaked. Once, twice, perfectly timed with my landing. I froze. My breath caught. The sound came again, deliberate, patient, not the settling of old wood, not the echo of my movement. It was mimicking me. I told myself it was the pipes, the wind, the ventilation. But then I saw it, faint marks in the chalk dust along the beam, next to mine. Bare feet, small, childlike. I ran a hand along the polished wood. It was warm, not the kind of warmth that lingers after use. No, this was fresh, pulsing warmth, as if the beam itself had a heartbeat. The gym felt smaller suddenly, like it was breathing with me, watching. That's when I realized I wasn't alone. The next evening, I came back early, too early. The sun was still bleeding out behind the gym windows, streaking the floor with long red light. My phone was in my pocket, camera already recording. I told myself it was for evidence, in case some creep was sneaking in after hours. But deep down, I think I just wanted to see it, whatever it was. The building hummed with that low electric drone that comes before a storm. The air felt heavy, metallic. Even the mats smelled different, like sweat gone sour. I climbed onto the beam. My palms were slick, the chalk refusing to stick. Focus, I whispered to myself. It's just another routine. Arms out, breath steady, 1, 2, 3, then push. The beam trembled, not from my movement, from something else. A shudder ran through it, subtle but unmistakable, like someone shifting their weight on the other end. I froze mid-turn, my muscles locked, my breath burning my throat. The gym fell into absolute silence, then creaked from the rafters. That same deliberate rhythm as before, but heavier now, closer. The lights flickered once, twice. On the third flicker, they stayed off just long enough for me to see it. A dark outline moving with me, every motion mirrored perfectly. It wasn't a reflection, the windows were behind me. When the light snapped back, the shadow was gone. I jumped down, grabbed my phone, and hit playback with trembling fingers. Static. Just static and the sound of my own breathing. But underneath it, faint, almost drowned out, there was another breath. Hoarse, wet. The beam creaked again, this time behind me. I turned slowly. Nothing. Only the faint swirl of chalk dust in the air, catching the last of the dying light. I thought I was imagining it, until I looked up. Across the wooden rafters above the beam were handprints, dozens of them. White chalk, fresh and distinct, some too small to belong to any adult. Then came the breathing again. Not through the speakers, from the ceiling. I didn't scream, I didn't move, I just listened. A low rasping inhale, like air being dragged through waterlogged lungs. That was enough for me. I dropped the phone, bolted for the exit, and didn't look back until I hit the parking lot. And even then, I could still hear it. Faint, rhythmic creaks echoing through the glass, as if the beam was still in use. The power cut out completely. One moment, the fluorescent lights buzzed above me. The next, darkness swallowed everything. A second later, the red glow of the emergency lights bled across the mats, making the entire gym look like it was submerged in blood. The air turned still, thick and wet, like it was holding its breath. The beam stood alone in the center of it all, long, pale, and humming faintly under the crimson exit sign. It almost looked alive. Then I saw it. Something was perched on it, or maybe in it. The shadows played tricks, but the shape was there, crouched low, waiting. I took a step closer. The wood creaked in answer. Another step, and a sound rose from the dark, a slow, wet drag, like soaked fabric sliding across the beam. My breath caught. Then the chalk prints appeared again, right there on the wood. Two sets, mine and hers. But they weren't side by side this time. They were on top of each other. Her prints perfectly overlapping mine, toe for toe, heel for heel. She wanted me to balance with her. The air grew colder, my breath turning visible. The beam started to sway, just slightly at first, then violently, as if something underneath was fighting to climb out. And then with a sharp snap, something fell from the rafters above. It hit the mat beside me with a soft, sickening thud. A body, arms tangled in red ribbon, hair matted and twisted in wire. A gymnast's uniform, torn but unmistakable. Her face was blue, lips cracked and eyes wide open, still glistening, as if she'd been staring down from those rafters for years, waiting for an audience. I stumbled backward, heart ricocheting against my ribs. "Lydia," I whispered. "Lydia." My old teammate, the one who'd fallen during competition 3 years ago, the one whose death had closed this gym for a season. Her lips twitched, then slowly, impossibly, they moved. Dry, soundless, but clear. One word: stay. The beam creaked behind me, groaning under invisible weight. And in that blood-red light, I realized the truth. She never left the gym. She'd just been waiting for someone to take her place. I screamed and fell hard onto the mat, the air punching out of my lungs. My phone landed beside me, its screen cracked, the red recording light blinking like a heartbeat. The gym was shaking, or maybe it was just me. The beam had stopped moving, but the sound, the creaking rhythm kept going. It came from above now, from the ceiling. Slow, heavy, measured, creak, pause, creak. I crawled backward, eyes fixed on the beam. The chalk footprints were still there, doubled, layered, impossible. Every breath I took felt borrowed. The air stank of sweat, dust, and something else, metallic like blood warming under light. Then, just as suddenly as it started, everything went silent. I didn't sleep that night. I sat against the wall, waiting for dawn, phone clutched in my hands, recording the emptiness. Somewhere around 3 a.m., I must have drifted, because when I opened my eyes again, sunlight was slanting through the high windows, cutting across the beam like a stage light. That's when I saw them. Drag marks. They started at the base of the beam, 2 long, parallel streaks through the chalk dust, and ran all the way across the mat, disappearing into the shadow of the ceiling. I followed them with my eyes until I saw what I thought was a water stain high above. No, not water. A dark patch spreading outward, like something had been pulled up and left hanging. When the janitor came in later that morning, he found me sitting dead center on the floor, my skin cold, my hands ghost white with chalk. He tried to ask what happened, but my voice wouldn't work. They said I'd had a breakdown. The stress, the pressure, classic overtraining psychosis, they called it. They cleaned the rafters, painted over the stains, replaced the beam. But when they replayed my phone footage, the last few seconds were missing. Just static, then a faint thump, like a landing. They never found Lydia's body, and no one's been able to explain why, at night, the new beam still creaks, perfectly in rhythm with footsteps that don't belong to anyone. Now, every time I close my eyes, I feel it, that faint sway beneath my feet, the soft, rhythmic pull of the beam moving under invisible weight. It's gentle at first, almost hypnotic, like being rocked to sleep. Then it tightens, like something trying to balance with me again. I stopped training for months after that night. I told myself I'd quit gymnastics for good. But the truth? I still go back sometimes, when the world feels too loud, when I crave that quiet only an empty gym can give. I tell myself I'm just visiting, just remembering. But the beam remembers too. Every time I walk in, the chalk prints are already there, 2 fresh sets, one lighter, one heavier, both recent. And the air feels charged, thick with the scent of sweat and something else, something old. The janitor avoids that part of the floor now, says the lights flicker too much there, says sometimes when he mops he hears humming, a girl's voice, soft and out of tune. Last night I went in again, just to check. The moment I stepped onto the mat, I heard a dull thud behind me, and the old stereo, the one we haven't used in years, clicked on by itself. It played Lydia's final routine, the same song she used before she fell. And in that thick, stale air, I swear I felt it, the shift of balance beside me, the invisible weight climbing back up, taking its place on the beam. If you ever find yourself alone in a gym after dark, and the beam starts to move, don't look down, because sometimes the only thing holding you steady isn't you. If this story gave you chills, tap the like button. It helps more people find the channel and keeps these stories alive. Subscribe for new horrors told every night and share this video with someone who loves a good scare. Thank you for watching. There's another story waiting for you on your screen right now. Click it if you dare. And I'll see you back here tomorrow.